Hey guys, welcome to this space. I've been reflecting on some things today, and I finally, I think, put the pieces all together, and I have something that I really want to share. And it's really around a concept and a thing that I've been actively moving through in my present moment experience. So, have you been finding that in some way the past has been haunting you? Have you been feeling like things from the past have been coming up and showing up in various ways, being in your face, whether you want them to be there or not? They're showing up in some way, in some capacity. Something or someone from your past is like in your present moment awareness. This is a very common part of the human experience because we have this beautiful network of neurons and brain cells that create memory. And there are certain times in which we will revisit parts and pieces of past versions of ourselves, past relationships, past circumstances and situations in our present moment experience. Sometimes this can be many, many, many years apart. You know, the most common version of this that I can think of is the way in which our inner child comes out over and over again in various ways to be seen, to be heard, because generally speaking, there's a way in which as a child we did not feel seen and heard, whether it was an experience or a overarching theme in our childhood. This comes up over and over again for the remainder of our lives, or in various ways throughout our lives until we've reached a space in which we have integrated. Okay? And so we'll experience familiar childhood patterns in our relationships because we are working to heal those things. This is all very subconscious, by the way. But in any sense, I know we're in Mercury Retrograde right now, and that can bring up things to the surface that we thought had been buried in the past, and now they're at the forefront of our experience. And my experience with this is, over the course of, I would say, the last 5 or so years, I used to be a person who was very reactive and would very quickly close the book of a chapter and run away from it and refuse to acknowledge that it ever existed, and would act as though just because I closed the door on a chapter or a situation or a person that now I was somehow healed and so much better. And even when I found sobriety, there was a piece of myself for a while that didn't even want to look back and acknowledge, the areas and parts of my life that were in active alcoholism. I was resistant to accepting that as a part of my journey. And even, since then, relationships that had kind of fallen apart, or, hurtful situations, dynamics, circumstances that had come into my experience that created this pain. There was this experience in me of attempting to, that was back there, it's back there, it's separate from me, it's not present in my present moment awareness, that's not who I am anymore. And to a degree that's true. But to another degree, all of those things also still, from my experience and from my lens of perception, still remain a part of me and a part of my soul journey. And so therefore none of that has ever actually truly been separated from me. And so my journey over the last few years now has been learning to really integrate all of these pieces and parts of me, and being able, most of all, being able to really actually look backwards and to be able to really see in a new perspective how things unfolded previously, why they unfolded previously, who I was being at that time that allowed things to unfold in those ways. And I think that one of the most important things we can do in our lifetime is really embrace our past. Not reject it, but truly embrace it. And I say this based on my own experience in life, in being a person who at a certain point definitely would not have believed that it was necessary to look over there and look back there and take into consideration all of that happened back there, what they may have been thinking or being or seeing things from their perspective even. It's not something I used to be capable of doing. But now that I am, and I taught myself how to do this over time, now that I am that person, it makes accepting the present moment circumstances so much easier, and it also makes it so much less painful and more revealing when the past comes into my awareness in the present moment. And the other thing that I'll say about this, being a spiritual person who really has a wide lens through which I choose to see the world because I'm not tied to any particular spiritual path or religion, so I really do see things from many different lenses and angles. So for me, it's like when things come into my present moment experience that are from my past, I also have this kind of understanding and belief within my soul that the past, the present, and the future are really not actually separate, because time really is just a construct of the human mind. Time doesn't necessarily exist in the way that our human consciousness perceives it. Everything really is so interconnected, and time really is irrelevant. What matters most is this moment now. And so if I can get myself to a space where I can take what happened over here, even though maybe I don't see it as the past necessarily, but I can take this situation over here, this conflict, this hurtful thing that somebody said. If I can look at this over here from my lens of perception in the present moment and see it in a different light and shine a different light on that situation in a way that feels aligned rather than restrictive, painful, overwhelming, confusing, all the different emotions that we can feel. Now I have consciously rewritten the story of that experience. And it doesn't mean that that didn't still happen, but it means that I'm seeing it from a different way, which allows me to experience my present moment reality in a different way, which then rewrites the way in which I perceive my entire timeline from my present moment experience. I am really hoping that landed, because I was definitely, it's a very ethereal concept, but it's so very real in my experience at the present moment. Like, this is where I do all of my inner work from, is from the present moment. I stay here in myself. I see things from here instead of seeing them from over here or over here. I stay here. And that is where the change happens, is now, always now. So, as these things come up for you from the past that are haunting you, yes, we can have traumatic experiences. Yes, we can have painful memories. Absolutely. This is a very real part of the human experience, 100%. And I have 100%, I can resonate with that. And I have been in a space where I have lived that reality as well. But what has happened in me is that I have shifted the way in which I perceive these events, these situations, and these people. And I perceive them from a place of really neutrality and love and understanding from beyond, because I have such a strong faith in myself and my journey and the unfolding of it. And that's all been from within here. And the only person who can really change the way that things are being in our life is us, myself, you. The only person who has the power to change reality is you. It's not outside work. And it's not based on the stories of what's going on out here. It's based on the story that you are telling yourself in here. So I challenge you, as these things come up that feel like they may be haunting you, these memories that want to be seen, can you shift the way in which you see them? Can you shift the way in which you experience them in the present moment? Can you see the perspective from the other person's eyes without judgment? Can you drop into their shoes? Can you remove your self who felt the pain or the turmoil here? Can you remove yourself from that and just be present in the present moment and see what is true for you now? And then can you use what is true for you now to rewrite your story? Major mountains can be moved by doing that work. Major mountains. All that really, truly matters is now. Right now. Right here. Who are you being? And allow yourself to be who you are. We're not judging ourselves. If we're hurting, that's okay. If we're excited, that's okay. If we're sad, if we're unsure of what we are, all of these things are welcome. But we can shift how we are being from within here. Always. It's just a matter of changing our perception. Thank you guys for listening. Have a beautiful day.